is open or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that should.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It should do something. Hey, everybody, welcome to our August masterclass. We have an amazing one for you this month. It is not often I get to say that we have an actual celebrity that joins us on our masterclasses. So today we have an actual celebrity for you. But as you all are trickling in, look at this. We're already over 100. There's over 500 people that registered for this webinar today. So, Talia, I mean, obviously you have a draw and you have a
I love
following.
it. I love it. Thank you.
And so, for those of you that are joining, jump in the chat. Tell us where you're joining us from. Uh,
Lancaster,
More than
PA.
anything,
That's where I'm
look at
from.
that. Look at that. I got
Wow.
Tucson, Minneapolis, Charlotte. Talia, where are you at? You're in Manhattan,
I'm in New
right?
York City. I'm in Manhattan,
Yeah,
but I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I rarely see that.
that's amazing. Look
Wow.
at there's Mark Robert's in there too, from also from Lancaster, PA.
Wow. Lanky
Lacey
Lank
Snader, a
represents.
third Lancaster, PA. That's amazing.
Wow. Huh.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well,
Impressed.
hey, everybody. For those of you that just joined, my name is Jeremiah Taylor. I'm part of the team here at Movoto, and we have an awesome August masterclass in store for you. Jump in the chat. Tell us where you're joining from. We're going to give it one more minute, and then I will introduce our guest speaker and get us off to the races. So, as y'all are joining, just jump in there. Tell us where you're from in the chat. I think like Lancaster actually is overrepresenting. These must all be your friends,
Oh my gosh, maybe they
people
are.
that know you.
I
That's
love
amazing.
it.
Hardly ever
Lancaster,
see this much
Lancaster.
PA on these. That's awesome.
I mean,
Awesome,
you know.
awesome, awesome. Okay, cool. Hey, for all of you that just joined, my name is Jeremiah Taylor. I'm part of the team here at Movoto, and I am, I don't know if I'm your host. I'm like your tour guide for this August masterclass, is what I think I am. I'm really excited that we've got Talia to join us this month. Um, here's what we're gonna do for today, by the way. So I'm gonna introduce our speaker. She's going to give you like a 15-20 minute kind of keynote, and then we're going to reserve a ton of time at the end for Q&A. Now when you hear her story, you're going to have a ton of questions, so this is why we ask you to use the chat now, because this is where we're going to ask you to post questions. There's also a Q&A widget at the bottom. 17 of you will ask this as Talia starts dropping fire. Yes, this is being recorded, and it's fine, ask it anyways. We'll remind you it's being recorded. But without further ado, I want to introduce Talia McKinney. Now, Talia has been featured on Bravo TV's Million Dollar Listing, New York. She leads the Talia McKinney team at Serhant. You've got 10 years of experience, 7 of which you've worked alongside Ryan Serhant.
8 now.
Uh,
8. Come
8
on.
now.
Yes.
And so Talia's kind of superpower. She excels in building relationships to ensure client satisfaction. Her team handles all price points across New York City and the Hamptons, from co-ops to condos and new developments. You're known for your patience and your sincerity. You have a massive track record of success. And I think your first sale was like $275,000 co-op. And then recently I heard about a $31.5 million penthouse transaction. That's amazing. Talia is a frequent keynote speaker, motivational speaker. She shares the stage often with Ryan Serhant, inspiring audiences worldwide about living authentically, being a business boss, and staying positive through the wild ride. So, Talia, I got to tell you, I saw the intro video that you did. And the only thing that I thought, I made a comment to my wife, she's in the industry. I'm like, I think Talia is the real estate agent that we all aspired to be when we were in real estate
Oh,
school, like cruising down the streets in New York City, selling penthouses, doing the thing. I'm excited to have you, and I'm going to turn
thank
it over to
you.
you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here. And I am that person you see running down the street or hopping on a city bike, and I'm always running all over the place. So it's always funny when people are like, did I just see you speed by showing like a $20 million property on a city bike? I'm like, yep, that's me. That is me. They're like, where's your driver? I'm like, nope, I do everything myself. So yes, that is yeah, what I love to do is being authentic and being myself. So thank you. Thank you for having me. So yeah, so I as I said, I've been in this business for 10 years, which is crazy. I come from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Jenna, do you want me to say like, sorry, am I doing the screens or?
Yeah,
Does everyone see my
tell us when
screen
to
on?
flip.
Yeah, just make sure
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
sees
Yeah,
it.
we got you.
Go
Perfect.
ahead and let me know when to go to the next
Perfect.
one.
Perfect. So here I am, Talia McKinney. So I have over 300 million in sales, primarily in New York City, and I've also expanded my business to the Hamptons. I have been on Bravo TV's $1 Million Listing New York alongside Ryan, which has been so much fun. If those of you who probably know, we are filming a new series on Netflix called Owning Manhattan, which has been super fun. And then I'm just featured on different TV stations such as Pix, Martha Stewart Living. I love to be in front of the camera. I love to share my experience. I love to share my journey with people, and where I started, where I came from a small town in Lancaster. And now I am the founder of the Talia McKinney team. And I have 5 agents on my team, an assistant, and it's been a wild, long journey getting there. So I love to, share that with other people, answer questions as we go through this and for the question and answer. Next slide. So how many of you know this guy? I can hear the hands being raised up. So yes, it's a very interesting story. Of course, everyone wants to know how I started with Ryan Serhant. I got my real estate license 10 years ago, and I was watching $1 Million Listing. And this is a show on Bravo TV. For those of you, not everyone may know who he is, but he's the top real estate agent in New York City. And at the time I had gotten my license, I was watching the show and I was like, I want to work with this guy, Ryan Serhant. He's on this top show on Bravo. He has like great energy. And I was like, I just want to work with him. Like as easy as that. Like it would be that easy. So I got my license, and this person who told me to get my real estate license said, you should get your license. You have this great personality. I think you'd be great in sales. And he's like, just get your license and come work for me. And I'm like it's that easy. I was like, I have like 2 different jobs. I had just moved from, I went to a school called Kutztown University, where I was a track athlete, and I moved to New York. I had a degree in communications and PR. And so I was like, what do you mean just like get my real estate license and come work for you? I was like, I want to work with Ryan Serhant. So he's like, just get your license and then we'll like kind of figure out how to get to this point where you want to be working with Ryan. So as I had these 2 jobs, I was working as in a restaurant, and then I was working as a host during the day. And I went to real estate school. I got my real estate license, and this guy's like, okay, come work for me. And I was like, no, I think I want to go into residential real estate. And so I started at a very small boutique company, and they focus primarily on rentals. So they're like, get your basis, learn the rental market, and that will like kind of move you on your way to being a good sales agent. And I don't know if you guys know rentals in New York City, but it is very tough. It is very cutthroat. It's like one day something will be listed, in 1 hour it's gone. So like you really have to learn to hustle. And so my first year, 10 years ago, I was like pounding the pavement. I was trying to work with as many people as I could in the rental market, and just like doing this turnover of rentals. And it really did teach me a lot. It taught me a lot about hustling. It taught me a lot about, persevering. But of course, in the back of my head, I'm like, this is great, but like, how do I get into sales? How do I get to my goal of working with this guy on this TV show? So 10 years ago, I started emailing Ryan Serhant and trying to join his team. And I remember like, I just thought, I was like, oh, I just send this guy an email. He's going to get back to me, and then I'm going to join this team that he has. So I sent him an email, got no response. So I was like, oh, okay, well, no, this didn't work out. A month later, sent him another email. So for an entire year, I sent Ryan Serhant an email trying to join his real estate team, and no response. An entire year went by, and I was like, okay, what do I do? I got a response from him. This would have been 9 years ago. And I still don't even know if it was actually him or his assistant. And it said, hey, thanks for, reaching out, but we're not looking for anyone to join my team at this time. So I was like, well, I've emailed you for an entire year. I've been hustling around as a rental agent. Like I need this. So I continued trying to learn the rental market. I tried to help people with different sales, and like nothing was really sticking. So I was like, how can I reach this guy, Ryan? Like, I know I'll be great on his team. I know this is something that I was like, he needs me. So another year went by, and I started emailing Ryan, and I made things a little more personalized. Like, I would look at certain deals that he had done. I'd seen certain stats that he had done with his team where he like broke records in a certain building. So I'd message him and make it more personal. Like, hey, Ryan, I saw that your team just hit a record at Central Park Tower. Are you looking for anyone to join your team? I did these rentals. I'm a hustler. Like, I am someone that you need on your team. Did this for another 12 months, making it a little more personalized, zero response from Ryan. And then in October of 2016, I'll never forget, I got an email back from Ryan Serhant saying, hey, we're looking for someone to join my team in Brooklyn. Is this something that you're interested in? And I was like, I know no clue. I have no clue what Brooklyn is. I was living in an apartment in Queens. I was living in a basement apartment. I had no heat. I had 3 roommates. I would literally wear like a little knit cap to bed, and I was paying like very cheap rent because it's all that I could afford. But I was like, Ryan Serhant messaged me back after 2 years. I will figure out what Brooklyn is. I am going to this interview. So he's like, come to the Brooklyn office, interview with our Brooklyn manager there, and we'll take it from there. And of course, I was like so excited. I had waited 2 years for this to happen. I went to the Brooklyn office. I interviewed with his Brooklyn manager there. And they're like, you seem great. It's a yes for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, now what? What do I do? And they're like, well, you have to meet Ryan tomorrow. Like, you have to go to Tribeca, which is in Manhattan, and you have to meet with him, and he gives the final say. So I was like, oh no, I've only done like rentals. Like, oh gosh, I'm not gonna, I second guessed myself because I was like, how is Ryan, who's the #1 agent in New York City, gonna choose me to be on his team? So I barely slept that night. I remember my commute to Tribeca was about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I got there like an hour early. I was so excited. And I'll never forget Ryan walking into his office, and I'm sitting in this like little conference room ready to be interviewed. And I was just very honest with him. I was like, I don't have a lot of sales experience, but I, first of all, followed up with you for 2 years until I got a yes. I'm here now. I'll be the best agent you've ever met. I'm willing to learn. I live far from Brooklyn, but I'm willing to learn this market. And personal journey, my personal journey. This is actually when I met Ryan in 2016. Thank you, Jenna. I get excited with my story. I forget where we are. And so I interviewed with Ryan, and he's like, you know what? Like, with your perseverance, Ryan, if anyone knows, he's all about following up, following back, and following through, which is funny because I didn't know that at the time. But he's like, there's some, you're a college athlete. There's something that I see in you. And he's like, it's a yes for me. And I was like, what? And then he's like, so what do you think? Like, do you want to be on the team? And I sat back and I was like, I'll have to think about it. And of course, I joined his team. That was 8 years ago. And since then, I have really learned to embrace my authenticity and like who I am as an agent. In New York City, in any industry, really, I think what's so important is to really live like your personal journey and to really lean into that. And I'll never forget when I first started, and I really thought like I had to dress a certain way and I had to be a certain person to sell in a certain price point or in a certain building. And I just really learned, first of all, I really learned the Brooklyn market because that's what Ryan was like, you have to learn this first. And I'll never forget my first sale was $275,000. And I was like, I've made it. I'm now a sales agent. Like, I can do anything. I can take over the world. But I also was like, okay, I want to get to a different price point and I really want to grow. So Ryan was a great mentor for me, and he still is. He kind of like, showed me the way and how to learn a specific neighborhood, really become great at a certain price point, and then you keep the momentum and things start rolling, and you become, you get referrals for a different price point, and people realize that you really listen to them and you really do work hard. And that was one of the things that was huge for me working with Ryan, was to show like, I'm not just a rental agent. I'm not just an agent that sells $270,000 listings, but coming to last year when I sold a $31.5 million penthouse, it took a lot throughout my career, through the 8 years of working with Ryan. We were at a previous company before called Nest Seekers, where we had the Serhant team. And then Ryan opened his own brokerage 4 years ago. He brought me over with him. And it was really great working with him and getting to a point where I feel like I was my own person. Like a lot of people who meet me, they see Ryan, they're like, does he want you to be like your own agent and to break out on your own? And that's one thing that I think is so great about our business, is that you can be under a company umbrella, you can be under a team, but what I teach my team is that you want to be an individual agent and really like push your branding as well. And Ryan was huge on that, which is how I ended up getting, along the lines of how I ended up getting this $31.5 million penthouse, was sort of through social media, sort of through things that I like doing. My power of social media and connections is huge. When I am coaching with Ryan with our Sell It program, we talk a lot about what your ands are. And my ands are things that you like to do with real estate, but you like to do something else as well. So you like real estate and what else? So for me, it was real estate and working out, real estate and traveling, real estate and volunteering. And all of those things that I like to do are pretty much, you see if you follow me, which everyone should on social media, Talia McKinney, are all across my social media page. And I think social media is so important with connections because it validates who you are as an agent. And it's like a great way to get referrals. And I like to share on my social media the good, the bad, the ugly of things that are happening within my business, you don't have to go into like your personal life and things that are happening there. But, if a deal falls through, or if you have a very difficult client, but you push something through to closing, those are all things that I have on my social media. Anyone who follows me knows that I post stories, literally like at least 10 stories a day. And it's something as simple as just walking down the street and getting a cup of coffee, or walking into your office, and being consistent with social media is huge for making those connections. Because reverting back to my penthouse, I ended up getting this penthouse from a referral because I was invited to a concert. So I like to say I literally got like a referral through going to a concert. It was a Mumford & Sons concert, and I ended up making this connection with someone at this concert. He was a runner, I was a runner, and he had asked me if I was interested in running as a guide with a blind runner. There's an organization where you can volunteer and run as a guide with athletes with disabilities. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love that. I love to volunteer. I love working out. So it was like this whole like encompassing picture of like everything that I love to do. And so we built this friendship with the consistency of me volunteering and running and keeping in touch with him also just through social media. Like, I think that's huge for our business. And for, like, I tell my team, like, just be consistent on social, comment on people's posts that they're doing, like their stories that they're doing. It's like such an easy way just to keep connected with people. It's like our business is all about connections. And so we built this, we had this friendship, and he connected me with someone who was selling a penthouse on Billionaires Row. And so that's how I ended up getting that listing and selling that listing. And I've gotten referrals through the seller who had sold that property. And I just keep in touch with these people through social media. So for my business and for real estate, I always like to teach like playing friendly in the sandbox. For real estate, there's so many agents, all over the world, all over the country. In New York City, they say 91% of agents in New York City within the first year end up leaving the business because it's not easy. So I like to teach my team when I am coaching. I always like to say, when someone does a deal, congratulate them on the deal. Like, having a good reputation and a good relationship with other agents is so big for our business, because it's a lot of people, but it's also like a small sandbox. Like, you end up running into the same agents pretty often. Like, if you haven't done a deal with someone can help you out if you get a listing in the neighborhood or a listing in the area. Like, I always like to be someone who's helping with comps, or if I'm selling something, I like to try to do open houses together. And I love to meet agents, which is why I'm so excited to be doing this. I love to meet agents in other markets. Like, you can get so many referrals by just going to different events where you're meeting other agents, where you're going to different conferences and meeting other agents and speaking to other agents. And I have people in my team who are like, well, why do I want to like talk to other agents who are in other markets? Like, I just think it's so good to educate yourself on what's happening in other markets, because you can talk to your clients about that. But then also, that's a great way to get referrals as well, is to meet other people and just hear what's going on. And then also to commit and be consistent with your follow-up. Like Ryan says, which of course now I've adapted. I can't help but to keep mentioning Ryan. Of course, I work with him on the daily, but be committed to your follow-up. Be consistent with your follow-up. If you have a CRM, if you have something else that works for you, I feel like that's going to be a question for me, a CRM. I never found a CRM really that I love. I just use an Excel sheet where I literally put in the people's names, I put in their email, I have the date of when I last followed up, and that's what works with me. So we always like to say, like, do what works for you, do what you're comfortable with, and something that you will make you want to follow up with people. Because if you have a CRM that's not working, then there's really no point. And then I also, I feel like I can talk more. So yeah, so I think, so for me, the main things are to really be consistent with your social media. People always say, like, how do you get your referrals? How do you get your listings? I feel like I've gotten to a point in my career, which I'm so grateful for, that yes, I do have, a good record of luxury properties, but I have my team to leverage as for support. And when I came to Surrogate with Ryan, he was like, if you want to build your business, you need to have a team who supports you. People who, when you're out there generating leads and building your business, that they need to be able to kind of take the reins and be able to show the properties for you, do the open houses for you. And that is something that was, I would say, was difficult for me. And a lot of people ask, like, is that something that I was comfortable with right off the bat? It's not always easy to feel like you can trust someone else, but it's a great way, obviously, to be able to take some time off when you need to and build your business and leverage other people. So building your business out is obviously something that helped me succeed in my business and as being one of the top teams in New York City. And also, when I'm going to these listing pitches, which I think is huge, is, again, social media validates who I am as a person. I've walked into so many listing pitches where they're like, oh, we've seen you on YouTube, like, we've seen you pop up on Instagram, we've seen you pop up on TikTok. And so being that person, I like to say your social media page is like your billboard to the world. So of course you need to, monitor what you're putting on there. And then again, another question I get often is business versus personal pages. I only have a personal page. And because I like to show people that I like to do real estate, but I also have this life outside of real estate. And that's a great way for me to connect with clients of mine and get referrals that way, because people are like, oh my gosh, Talia just went to Scotland. That's so cool. Oh my gosh, Talia volunteers and runs with the blind. That's amazing. Like, it's a talking point. We like to say that people enjoy shopping and looking for real estate with friends. They want to know someone that they feel like is their friend, not that someone's trying to sell things to them. So social media is like another way that they are meeting up with you and they already feel like they know you. So I think that's super important. And yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing the story. And I find it really inspiring how you went from like, hey, I'm a new agent, I'm figuring this out. You set your sights on who you wanted to be in business with and what you wanted to do, and you just stayed with it. And it's funny because you talk to a lot of people in this industry and other industries that are successful that have a background in athletics. And I think a lot of times those athletics teach you how to set a goal and go after the goal with consistency.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask, at some point in those 2 years of trying to get where you wanted to go, and now 10 years of your career, did you ever feel discouraged, disenchanted, down?
In my career or pursuing Ryan, or both?
Both, just in general.
Yeah. Definitely in my career, yes. Real estate is not easy. I think no matter where you are, of course, I only really know the New York City market, but You're like,
Yeah.
you just feel, I think my first year I made like $23,000 and I was like hustling every single day,
Yeah.
like no day off. I had another job and people were like, well, for you to succeed, you can't have another job, but you don't make money, but you need to be in it 24/7, but you don't have money, but you need to, so I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how do I do this? Like, I don't come from a family with money who's supporting me, which I mean, it's fine and great if people are, but I don't have someone who's like, here's my uncle who works on Wall Street, who's selling their apartment, who can help you. Like, I was like, I need to do this myself. I want to do this myself. But then I do think for me, being an athlete and being someone who is competitive, someone who doesn't give up, someone who is very driven for the business and in terms of pursuing Ryan, I was like, it almost made me hungrier for it. Like, I'm like, okay, this guy's not answering. He's going to answer and I'm going to be working with this guy.
Yeah. So the good news for everybody listening, Talia's human. She felt discouraged at some point, just like the rest of you. And so I would be curious to ask if somebody is listening to this, and they're right, like our industry is at the precipice of change, right? This is, I've been in this 23 years. I don't know that I've encountered a more challenging time in this industry. So what do you like? What's your go-to? Is there an affirmation? Is there exercise? Is there a book? Is there a person? Like how, when you're feeling that way, where you're like, you're not your best self and you're in a bit of that funk, how do you get out of that and how do you move yourself through it?
Yes. I have those times often still. And I think when you're the leader of a team too, and you have people coming to you who feel that way too, it's like almost like a double whammy because you're like, oh no, I'm feeling that way. My team's feeling that way, but I'm supposed to keep the morale up. So first off, I do listen to Don't Worry, Be Happy. That's one of my like theme songs for when I'm like feeling down. Don't worry, be happy. Like, how can you not feel positive when you listen to that song? If any of you have not heard it, classic old school song. So listen to it. So that is the one thing that I do. And then, I mean, I think I've just learned, of course, I haven't been in the business. I mean, I think 10 years is long, but like you said, 23, people have been in the business 30 years. I think you just have to know to ride the wave and to know that what comes up must come, what goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. That's the more positive way. What goes down must come up. So things will turn around. And for me, I've just always been that person who stays super positive. Again, people who meet me, who follow me on social, they're like, how are you always so positive? Because we follow you, we see you, you're like this in real life. We see you on social, but then we meet you in person. And I am that person who I've traveled a lot. I've seen a lot. I always think that, things could be worse. And I am very grateful for the position that I'm in. And I'm so grateful that when I do these speaking events, people are like, you are real, you are authentic, you struggled, you like to tell that story. Like you have made it, but you're also very down to earth. And that's why I love what I do, because I'm like, people learn from me. And I that is super important to me, to teach people that it's not always easy. This is not always glamorous. We have these shows and it's not always like cha-ching, cha-ching, you're making these dollars that you see on $1 million listing, because it is a struggle. And I think that's what's so important. And that's why I love a community like this, like how many people are on, almost 200 people, because we're in this together. And that's why I love these types of things, because we're like, this isn't all easy. And hearing other markets too, where you're like, oh, my market was terrible 6 months ago, it's turned around. So just talking with other people is super helpful.
So I want to take us in a direction, like, I know everybody on here, I've seen some of the Q&A come over and I saw some of the pre-read Q&A. Like the thing everybody wants to know is like, how do I start selling $30 million penthouses? But before I cut straight to that, for you all listening, I want you to make sure you heard something that Talia said. She said, a lot of the customers that I meet, they've seen me on social media, they've seen me on Instagram, they've seen me on TikTok. Now, if you don't follow Talia, you don't know that she has, I think you have like 30,000 followers on Instagram.
I think
you
so.
have like 10,000-ish on TikTok.
Yeah.
So you have a like very much not small social following. I'm sure some of that is from what you did with TV, but a lot of that really comes down from like, I watched your video. You're literally walking down the street in the rain, shooting content.
Oh yeah. I'm ridiculous.
Yeah, I know I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure somebody else is guilty of this, of like this disease we call like just not getting started. So if you think back to like the beginning, when you started posting and coming up with content and doing things, like what tips would you give, that like less experienced version of you
Yeah.
that would help you just get started and get going?
And so many people ask me that because they're like, you look like this, or you sound better than me, and you have followers. And I honestly think those are excuses. And I honestly think social media is like one of the easiest things you can possibly do to generate business and to generate leads and to validate yourself. Um, I I don't even I think with like the stories and being consistent, like it really isn't about planning. It's just about like being yourself and saying, okay, we are all real estate agents. Today I'm going to get a coffee. I have a showing. I'm going to the office. I'm in a meeting. Like just being consistent with showing your days, like that's all you need to do. So one, I would say just getting on social and doing it. Two, not overthinking it and not thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't have makeup on today, or no one cares. But three is just like putting yourself out there and pushing yourself to say, like when I did a speech, I was in Dubai speaking like a month or so ago, and they were like, how do we get started? And I'm like, just say to yourself, like, I'm going to commit to doing 3 stories a day and 2 posts a week for 30 days. That's all I want to see of everyone, and tag me in it, and like just commit to doing that. So 3 stories a day, 2 posts a week. Like there's no reason that you can't do that. Like there's no excuse. There's no reason you can't do it. I'll show myself after a workout and with no makeup and, like you said, running in the rain, and people are like, oh my gosh, you're a real person. They connect with you, and that's all they want to see. So just doing it, like not even asking like, well, should I do this? Should I start on a Friday? Should I start on a Saturday? Just do it.
Just start now. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so then what should my first one be about? It's like, well, I don't know. What are you doing right now? Do that. Make a post about that.
Yeah.
I love
Do
that.
a post. You're walking into a Starbucks, tag the Starbucks. They re-tag you. That's a way to generate leads and to get more exposure. Like that's literally how I started building my followers. I would just go to a restaurant. I tag the restaurant at Chipotle, whatever. They re-tag me. People start following me from that. And then it kind of, people start to see you more often. It's just being that consistent person. Because if you're posting every day for 2 weeks and then you're missing, people are gonna, it's not as consistent, and people won't realize it's all about seeing your face. That's the other thing too. Don't try to just not show your face too. People want, like, your face is your brand with real estate.
Yeah.
Like people want to see who you are. They want to see you're that agent from Florida or Kentucky or Arkansas. They need to see your face as well.
Well, and I'm like processing in real time as you're talking, because I'm friends with way too many real estate agents on Facebook and social media. And all I see is like new listing coming soon and these still photographs.
Yeah.
And then you look at like what you post and you're like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm walking into this penthouse. It's so cool. Look at this view. This is amazing. And you're more posting like, hey, this is the real life day to day of doing real estate. It's not this like promotional content-y thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, but people are so, like you said, I'm sick of seeing a post on interest rates, or seeing a post, oh, what's happening with the market? This is what sold last week. This is what sold this week. Or, oh, just sold, just listed. Like, we get that, you're in real estate, but people want to see like you. They want to see your personality. They want to see you doing a walkthrough of an inspection. It's disgusting and the inspection maybe failed, but it's like, hey, that's real life. That's what you are as an agent. And that's what people will keep coming back to your page and looking at, because it's not just all like, everything's great. I just sold this. I'm amazing. I'm in real estate. Like we get it. We get that.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So now kind of like shifting into the next gear. So you're doing your posting, you're doing your social stuff. I love the hack about tagging places that you go. That's amazing, because that it clicked for me when you said that. That totally does work.
Yeah.
So now like you're doing that, but then you're also going out and you're networking. And I like the Mumford and Sons story, because that was just like you being a human interfacing with other humans and talking about life and real estate. And so, I meet a lot of agents, and like you'll talk to them and they'll say something like, well, where do I meet buyers and sellers? And it's like, I don't know, in the grocery store line, like at the golf course, like wherever you are, right? So have you been like, are you strategic about that? Does it come naturally to you? And if it didn't come naturally, like what tip would you give somebody to help it be more natural?
Yes, great question. Because I feel like when I first started with Ryan, I was like, I sort of burnt myself out with networking, and I wasn't like strategic about what events I was going to and why I was going. So few different routes to go with this. So one, I do feel like in real estate, we get invited to so many events, like brokers events and networking events. Like, I think for me, what really spoke to me when Ryan said, like, what are 3 things that you really enjoy doing? And lean into those things. Like I said, for me, it's volunteering, traveling, and working out. Like, how can you surround yourself with people who enjoy the same things as you, so it doesn't feel like a task? Because I felt like when I joined his team, I was like, oh my gosh, I need listings. I need to meet people. I can't really like afford to pay to be in like a networking group or a club. So I was going to all of these different things and nothing was sticking because I was going once and then I'd give everyone my card. Everyone would give me their card. And I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, you'd make no connection. It's really about choosing something or doing something you enjoy. If you like to volunteer or you want to, serve food to people and you're seeing those people on a regular, like once a week, once a month, like, you need to be consistent with seeing those people. And you really need to say, like, this is something I enjoy doing. I'm not going to like give out my card and then go to the next thing and never see these people again. Like, having a genuine connection is so important to get leads and to say, like, yes, I'm in real estate, but I'm also here because I just enjoy book club or I just enjoy a cigar lounge or cars. So really saying, like, what do I like doing?
And what I'm hearing from you is like, be interested before you try to be interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you're really interested in these people and these things and like connecting with them and building a relationship. And that makes a ton of sense.
Yes. Yeah. Cause I think so many people, but I think we've all been, especially as agents, where you go to these events and everyone's just card handing out. And you're like, I have an inspector and a lender and attorney and 10 painters and this, and you have no clue who people are. So it's just about doing those things on the consistent with something that's more targeted at what you like doing.
Yeah. I'm going to prompt everybody listening. Like, there's a couple things in the Q&A. Throw more in because I want more questions. And there's one that's really good that I want to ask you about.
Boy.
But I
want to check them, but I don't want to be distracted.
No. Don't check it. I'll check them for you. But I want to like keep going on this thread because it'll build really nicely into this question. So it's like, you said you didn't come from money. Okay. But then you're selling $31 million condos on Billionaires Row. At some point, right, you had to have this moment of like, really? Like, am I really ready for this? Am I like good enough for this? Like, we all have that. We're human.
I was
right?
terrified, of course.
So like, what for somebody that, that has to overcome that, which I think is probably most people that didn't grow up in $30 million condos and just think that's normal, which is probably everybody on this call. How do you like break through that piece of it and then like put a cherry on top of that with like, if you were somebody that your average price is X and you wanted to make it Y, what would you do different?
Well, to answer your last question, patience. If you're new in the business, if you've had 10 years in the business and you're trying to get to a different price point, I literally have this talk with people, I feel like on the daily, because I'm like the poster person for Ryan to be like, Talia sold 270,000 and she sold a $31 million. Like, and I wanted to get there so quick, but it's just having that patience and knowing, I can grow and that you will, like, your business picks up momentum. And when you sell one thing, like, shout it from the mountaintops and say, I sold this listing, I sold this price point, which then gets you to a different price point. And I feel like when I did get that listing, I was terrified, but it's also like it sounds crazy, but like, if I'm wearing an Hermes, Chanel, Louis Vuitton outfit, which I thought I had to wear, or be a certain, carry a certain bag, wear Louis Vuittons and heels, I literally show up to places nice dressed. And I think dressing the part is obviously important, but being yourself and feeling confident in what you're wearing and who you are as a person. Like, I don't wear heels, I wear sneakers, and people are like, wow, so knowing your stuff, but being who you are and committing to that, like being confident in that and being able to, kind of like outsell anyone else. But it did take me a while because I feel like I was going to developer meetings and I was doing listing pitches and I would walk into these rooms with people who didn't look like me. And I was like, how am I going up against these people? But it does, I feel like, take time, but to like learn the business and to really like Ryan said, like, learn one neighborhood and be the townhouse expert in this area of Brooklyn. And then you will get referrals for, other things in Manhattan. That's something that I always wanted to do. I was like, okay, well, how do I get to the price point of $5 million? I got to that price point. They gave me referrals for other things. and to ask for business as well. When I'm coaching and doing these calls, I'm like, when have you asked your previous client for business? And people are like, well, I don't really feel. No, you need to ask. You need to stay consistent with follow-up. If it's a newsletter, if it's an email, if it's commenting on their social media, like people forget that you're in real estate. It happens to me all the time. I'm like, you know that I'm in real estate. Why did your sister just buy something? You know, so you have to remind them of what you do, and that will propel you into different price points, different markets. But you have to remind people.
All right. So you said a lot there. What I heard was like Louis Vuitton bag, sneakers, doesn't matter. Do what makes you feel good in your own skin. And that's how you win. Did I hear that right? Okay.
Totally.
That's super important. Super important. Right? Like you
that's the question I always get.
You.
Right. And so many, and when you know, on social media, people will say, well, do I have to wear like a suit, or do I have to wear a tie, or have to do this? I'm like, wear what you're comfortable doing. Obviously, don't go in looking like a complete wreck in your pajamas, but you know, wear what's comfortable to you and go in owning who you are.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm sorry, my internet dropped for a second.
But I saw you frozen for a second.
Yeah, it's like in the robot.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So then the next thing that you said, I got distracted by my internet breaking. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Looking a certain part, I was saying like owning who you are, being confident.
Yep.
Just giving you
the next thing that you said was asking your clients for business. That was the thing that caught my attention. Now, do you have like a magic script for asking people for business, or do you just like come right out and ask it? How, like, I'm your client, ask me for business.
Yeah. So, you know, we had a great successful sale of your property. I think, you know, is there any feedback or anything that you would give for me as great feedback, or something that you would have preferred something to be done differently? No, great, perfect, awesome, thank you. It was so great working with you. If you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell now or in the future, like I'd love to talk to them. I'd love to be their advisor. Like I always say, I'm not like super pushy. I'm not going to email them, you know, every single day, but I'd like to just be their advisor for now if they're looking, or for the future. Like I'd just love to be connected.
I love it. Super simple ask. And I love that you ask, because you don't get what you don't ask.
And so many people don't ask, and they're like, oh, we didn't realize you did rentals as well, or we didn't realize you did a price point under $5 million, which now I get. So you have to tell people. Okay,
so now I get to go to my like favorite question that I get asked here, because the thing that I love the most about you and your bio and the interview you did with Jenna and everything I've learned is that even though you are selling like at the ultra high end of the American real estate market, you stay grounded and you still do rentals. And I don't think anybody would ever hear you say that you are too good or too experienced or too important to help somebody buy and sell a house.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I think that's amazing.
Thank you. Some people think I'm crazy.
No. That means like I could get on my soapbox about this, because you know what that means? That means that you value humans and helping humans and being of assistance to humans.
1000%.
And that is an awesome thing. Okay. So we hear this from agents a lot. Now we send leads all over America at all sorts of price points. And I always hear people say things like, oh, I don't do those. I don't work at that price point. I don't work that neighborhood. And, you know, there's like a personal thing for me that's just not cool. And so when I see somebody that's as successful as you, that still helps everybody at every price point, I just think that's like the evidence. That's all the evidence anybody should need, that if you truly seek to be like a servant, you can have the most success possible. And so like talk a little bit just about your mindset on that and how that serves you.
Yeah, well, one, I hate to turn down any business, period. Business is business. You never know what the market's going to do. You never know who that person knows. You never know what that person's going to rent and then potentially buy. So I value that, because I am a real estate agent. Like I never was that person who was like, I need to only sell $10 million properties and then that's it. For me, I just, like you said, I'm a human. I just don't like to turn people away who need housing. For me, that's just like a thing. But also just business wise, I think it's just, I've had so many clients who their daughters were renting in New York, the lower end of rentals, And then the parent ends up referring me to someone that they work with who buys a $2 million place. So I always think, like, I don't always do it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a lead out of this. But I like just to help people, and I don't like to turn people down. And like I said, business is business. So, I figure out ways to make that work. And I've never been one to say I need to set a bar of what I'm not, what I'm going to turn down. Yeah.
Yeah. So so would it be fair to say, like, the reason to help people at every price point isn't because you know where it's going to go, meaning it's not because
Right.
it's going to lead to more business. It's actually because you don't know where it could go, that it could
Right.
lead to something crazy good.
Right. And that's it's similar with like networking events. Like I have like sort of FOMO with both of those things. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't go, I could be missing someone that I could meet, which could lead to something, but it could just be a great friendship. But it could just be an awesome opportunity to help someone find a rental. Like I just get these like crazy, like I just want to help everyone. And it's a slight addiction that I'm like, I just want to find someone a cool apartment to rent, or I just want to go to this cool thing and help people.
Yeah. I love that. I want to go back to something you said. And I've noticed this with whether it's like San Diego, Beverly Hills, New York, uh, like the higher that you get in price point, the more the consumer expects you to know about the product, the area, things like that. So if an agent, and I don't think that's like a coincidence, I think that's a very real thing. And so if an agent is looking to break into their local luxury market, is there like a bullet pointed list of like, these are the things that you got to know, or is it just everything?
Know
Like
everything.
how should they go get started?
Yeah. So for me, when I was like, Ryan, I want this price point, blah, blah, blah. He's like, whoa, slow down. Like, I think just like going to open houses and educating yourself on the market, reading obviously articles and things, but like seeing the product, going to open houses and like seeing how these agents that are selling at this price point speak, how they speak to the clients, how they speak to you, like what they're showing you, what is of importance at this price point. I think that is a cool thing to do. If you have an agent at your company or you're on a team, or you can just ask someone in your office like, hey, can I shadow you and I'll post social media for you, and that's great for your marketing. Or I just love to help you out in an open house for a day at this price point, just to see how they're speaking to these people and what their follow-up is like, what they're saying in their follow-up, because like all of those things I think at that price point is a little different, and you want to be strategic about like how soon you follow up with them, what you're saying in the follow-up, if you're picking up the phone and calling them and seeing if they want to get back in, like all of those things I think goes into play when you're working with people at a different price point. Like their time is valuable, their money is valuable, they don't want to waste time doing certain things that I think are amazing in a $30 million property, like a closet, which it's not to people that are looking at $30 million properties. I was like, look, you can do all these in the kitchen. You have all the storage. And they're like, we don't cook. I'm like, okay, should have known, a lot of these people at this price point probably don't cook. So it's just like hearing those things that you wouldn't think about at the time. And then you're like, oh, okay. Other things of importance are the investment, what things have sold because they'll probably want to sell it in 5 years, what they're making back, and those things. So just hearing those things from other people with a more of an expert, show people who work in that luxury market is better.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so smart to like look at who's your like for you, it seems like it was Ryan, right? Like
Yeah.
Ryan was, you're like, I want to be like him. To be like him, I got to get near him and learn from him.
Yes.
And anybody could do that with somebody in their local market, right?
Yes.
And say, like, who's that agent that I want to be like them? And then you go to their opens, you look at their marketing, you see what they do. And it's like, what do they say? Imitation is like the most sincere form of flattery, right?
For sure.
So it's not ripping off what they're doing, but it's learning from them so that you can build those best practices into your business.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. We have some like tactical questions around what's your favorite lead generation company? What CRM do you use? Like,
oh gosh.
is there anything that you like have religion about that's so good you want to talk about it?
Not really, which I think is kind of cool. What was this thing I did with someone? It was like, basically I was someone who I did this panel where this person was very strategic about CRM and follow up, and I was not. And they're like, how many people in the audience are like Talia? And probably like 90% of the people were like me. So I think for me, I get anxiety with something that's so strategic as a CRM. I think CRMs are great. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, if they work for you, they work for you. But for me, my Excel sheet works for me. For Ryan Serhant, who has millions of people in his, in his head, he does not have a CRM that he loves right now. So it's just interesting to hear what different people use and what works for you. So for me, it's, I do a newsletter, a monthly newsletter. And then for me, it's a lot of just social media, like just seeing people commenting, liking things, and then posting on mine, and people see me that way. So I wish I could tell you more of a strategic answer, but I think it's kind of cool that I'm like, hey, I succeed, and you don't have to have a planned out CRM. If it works for you, that's great.
Yeah, talk about content of your newsletters. That like market stats. What's
Not really. Not really. And if anyone wants to, hop on to my newsletter, you can. How would they do that? I don't know. You can let me know, and they can email me or something. But yes, I get really great reviews for my newsletter because I rarely talk about real estate. I'll do one like just listed or just sold posts, and then I'll do my summer plans, what trip I just went on, where I volunteered recently, and things that are coming up, things to do in New York in August, things to do in New York in September, events that are coming up, holiday events, and people love it. Like, we love that you're an agent, but it's not all like statistics and just sold, just listed, your postings, this, that. Like, we get that. Like, we want to see who you are as a person.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you're sending that newsletter to like everybody that you can, right? Past clients, other agents,
everyone.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Get every single person you meet, every single person, get their email and add them to the newsletter, no matter who it is.
Love that.
You just never know.
I love that. So if y'all want to be added to the newsletter, just do what Nazma did and drop your email. You don't need to send it to everybody. Just send it to the host and panelists. We'll grab those. We'll send it to you. And we'll get you that list, Talia, if you don't mind adding folks.
Yeah.
I think that would be tremendous. We got 5 minutes left. I want to ask you.
Went so fast.
It did. It went really fast.
Wow.
It's been good. It's been very informative for me. Our audience is all still here, which is amazing. Sometimes I worry, like, when we can't see them, did they just leave and we're just hanging out?
I know.
No,
I'm like,
here.
oh, yeah.
So there's a question here, like, I'd love to learn more about listings and best marketing steps to ensure more business. What does the marketing look like? Door knocking, cold calling, etc.
I think it depends on the market. Door knocking is not the greatest in New York City because we have apartments and they'll kick us out, as the doormen will like escort us out or call the police. But with Serhant and us expanding throughout the country, I know that I think seeing what works. I think doing all of the above, like door knocking, cold calling, reaching out to past clients, being consistent with that, always following up with those people. Because even my team, I'm like, when was the last time you followed up with your past clients? And then they're like, oh, well, it was like 3 months ago. I don't want to be annoying. I'm like, no, you guys aren't annoying. Like, for me, until someone says, leave me alone, you're so annoying, you're talking to me too much or calling too much, then I will leave them alone, most likely. No, I will. But it's like, people, I think you just get in your head and think that people are annoyed with you for that. But I think just trying all of those things and seeing and taking note of it. Like, hey, I went door knocking this day, got 0 leads from it. Hey, I did cold calling for 2 hours, got 2 leads. Maybe you should lean into cold calling more.
Yeah. And I love your advice, because it's all about like, what works for you? What do you like? What are you going to do? And then do more of what's working. And it's just so practical. I love it.
Yeah.
3 minutes. I have to ask the question. August 17th is 3 days away. Like, are you doing anything like different in your business today than you've done in the past to prepare for like having to educate buyers on how you get paid and all that?
Yeah. So our company is having a lot of training sessions on that. But I definitely think, obviously, reading up on your market and seeing like what exactly the exact rules are, because I know that different markets are different. But I think definitely educating yourself, being confident in what you're saying to your buyers. Like, I have a lot of newer agents on my team, and they're like, well, I feel uncomfortable like talking about it. And having someone who does feel comfortable, if it's not you, having your manager or someone on your team who feels comfortable talking to buyers and saying, hey, listen, like, we are great. this is the value that we're bringing to you. Like, you need us because we will do X, Y, and Z for you. This is why you're paying us for this. Like, we work hard. We work hard for our money. Like, I think that's something that you should be confident about, not something that you should like cringe and say, oh, I feel like weird asking for people for money. Like, no, I'm bringing you value. I will save you time. I will save you money. I will get you the best possible deal. And that's why I deserve X. I'm like thinking like people will be fine with that.
Yeah.
Being confident in what you're saying.
What I love about that is that you just exemplified that it starts with your self-worth, because you are selling property that one commission check is like 4 years worth of commissions for a lot of agents, right?
Right.
And you, if you didn't believe that you were worth it, that the service you provided was worth the amount that they're paying, you would never get paid that. And I think that's actually the number one hurdle for most agents is they're like, well, I don't know why I should get paid that much if that's just how much I've gotten paid. And now that they actually have to articulate it, they're a little nervous about it. And I think what you said is a good reminder to them to like, go get real about that, about like, what are you providing and what's the value of that to a consumer? And then charge a commensurate rate for the value that you're providing. And if you don't like the rate that you come up with, figure out how to provide more value. Pretty simple.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Show your value and be confident in that.
Yep. Love it. All right. Close us out. Give us a parting thought.
Oh my gosh, me? Okay. I think, yes. First of all, I'm just grateful to be here. Like I said, I just love doing these sessions. If anyone wants to drop me a comment on Instagram or something, please follow me because I love all of that. Copy my day-to-days. I tell people just do what I do what other people do that you like on social media, and to stay positive. I know there are a lot of markets where people are like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Because again, like I think things always turn around. And if anyone's ever in New York, let me know. But yeah, I'm one to just be very positive and have a happy, nice outlook on things. So I'm always grateful to do things like this and give back. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, we are very grateful to have you as our guest this month.
Yes.
Thank you for adding a tremendous amount of value to all the people that are here. For those of you that are
and my challenge, sorry, don't forget my challenge, 3 stories a day, 2 posts a week, and tag me in it and I'll retag you.
Oh, that's okay. That is gold. So if you're still here, go to the bottom, click on the react thing, and show Talia a little bit of love. Click a heart, click a thumbs up, click a smile, click something. Look at all those coming in. I love it.
Wow, thank you. Hearts.
And hey, Jenna, can you drop Talia's Instagram again here? Because y'all, I don't know that you realize the value of this. She has a huge following on Instagram. If you tag her and she retags you, you are going to get follower growth out of that. That is amazing that you've offered that. Make sure that y'all do that. Thank you so much for delivering value. I just really appreciate who you are and the way that you show up. And I am very envious because you are the real estate person I want to be when I grow up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you all to all of our Movoto and Ojo partners for joining this month. We will see you in September.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.